Adobe just paid $150 million to settle a lawsuit. Their CEO of 18 years just resigned. Their stock has collapsed more than 60% from its peak to an 8-year low. Their market cap dropped below $100 billion. And here is the part that makes no sense. Adobe is making more money than ever. $6.4 billion in a single quarter. Revenue has nearly quintupled since 2015. Profits are at record highs. So why is everyone betting against a company that is printing money? Because Adobe made a mistake that is quietly destroying them from the inside. And there is a financial lesson buried in their collapse that could change how you think about every subscription you pay for. For decades, Adobe built the most dominant position in creative software that the world has ever seen. Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Acrobat, InDesign, Lightroom. If you worked in anything creative, you used Adobe. There was no real alternative, and this was not an accident. Adobe spent years buying every competitor that threatened them. Macromedia for $3.4 billion, Omniture for $1.8 billion, Magento, Marketo. If a tool could challenge Adobe, Adobe simply purchased it and absorbed it. By 2012, Adobe was untouchable. Every creative professional on the planet was locked into their ecosystem. And then their CEO, Shantanu Narayan, made a decision that would transform Adobe into one of the most profitable companies in the world, and simultaneously plant the seed that would eventually bring it all crashing down. In 2013, Adobe killed the boxed product. No more buying Photoshop for $700 and owning it forever. No more physical discs. From now on, everything would be a monthly subscription through Creative Cloud. The pitch sounded reasonable. Instead of $700 up front, pay $20 a month. Lower barrier, always the latest version. Everyone wins. Adobe's revenue began to soar. The stock climbed from $60 to over $600. Market cap hit $250 billion at its peak. Wall Street could not get enough. But there was a problem hiding inside the subscription model. And millions of customers were about to discover it the hard way. Adobe did not offer a simple monthly subscription. They offered 3 options. A monthly plan at the highest price, an annual plan paid upfront at a lower price, and a third option sitting right in the middle where your eyes naturally go first, a monthly plan but cheaper, except it was not monthly. It was an annual plan, billed monthly. You were locked into a 12-month contract, charged each month. And if you tried to cancel before those 12 months were up, Adobe charged you 50% of every remaining month on your contract. Think about that. You are paying $20 a month. You decide to cancel. Adobe charges you $70 to leave. Someone who cannot afford one more month is being charged half of every month left. Some users were trapped the moment their 14-day free trial ended. They signed up to test Photoshop on a Tuesday, got busy, forgot to cancel by the following week, and suddenly owed hundreds in early termination fees for a product they used once. And it gets worse. Most subscription services let you turn off auto-renew so your plan quietly expires. Adobe does not allow this. There is no toggle. There is no off switch. The only way to stop your subscription from renewing is to cancel the entire plan, which triggers the cancellation fee. You are punished for trying to leave, and you are punished for doing nothing. Now go to Reddit. Go to the Adobe community forums. Go to any creative professional space online. What you find is thousands of people begging for help. One user wrote, "I have tried to cancel every single month for 3 months. They keep charging me. I called and the phones do not work. I emailed them directly. Nothing. They just keep taking money from my account." Another wrote, "Adobe doubled my plan price without telling me. When I tried to cancel, they hit me with a $200 termination fee. I am a student. I am freaking out right now." Another, "I canceled my subscription. I have the confirmation email. They charged me again the next month anyway. And the month after that. I do not know what to do anymore." The only reliable way to escape, according to hundreds of posts, was to call your bank and cancel the credit card entirely, not cancel the subscription. Cancel the card, because Adobe would not stop. And here's the part that made all of this possible. Adobe's customers could not leave, even if they wanted to. If you worked in design or marketing, your employer used Adobe. Your clients expected Adobe file formats. Every job listing required Adobe proficiency. Your entire career was built on tools that only Adobe made. Switching was not just inconvenient, it was professionally dangerous. You could lose clients, you could lose job opportunities, you could lose years of project files trapped in proprietary formats. Adobe knew this. They had studied it. They had mapped every reason their customers could not leave. And they used every single one. But someone much bigger than angry Reddit users had been watching, and they were about to make Adobe pay. While Adobe was trapping customers in subscriptions, they were also trying to eliminate their biggest threat. In September 2022, Adobe announced it was acquiring Figma for $20 billion. Figma was everything, Adobe was not. Lightweight, browser-based, no installation required, real-time collaboration built in, and most importantly, a generous free tier that let users actually try the product without being trapped. Figma was growing fast and stealing Adobe's most valuable customers, young designers who were building the future of creative work. Adobe's solution was simple. Buy them, kill the competition, absorb their users. But this time, it did not work. The deal was so large that it triggered antitrust investigations on both sides of the Atlantic. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority concluded the acquisition would harm innovation for the vast majority of British digital designers. The European Commission raised similar concerns. On December 18, 2023, Adobe and Figma walked away from the deal. But walking away was not free. Adobe had to pay Figma a $1 billion reverse breakup fee, $1 billion, paid directly to their biggest competitor. Adobe had effectively funded Figma's war chest to compete against them, and the hits kept coming. While the Figma deal was collapsing, the Federal Trade Commission had been building a case. They filed a lawsuit alleging that Adobe had deliberately hidden its early termination fees, steered customers toward the annual paid monthly plan while obscuring the true cost, and continued these practices even after being aware of widespread customer complaints. After years of fighting, Adobe settled. $150 million, $75 million in penalties, $75 million in compensation for the customers they had wronged. And they agreed to clearly disclose subscription terms up front, the thing they had been hiding all along. Shortly after the settlement, CEO Shantanu Narayan announced his resignation after 18 years. The man who had pushed Adobe into the subscription model was leaving. The stock dropped another 7%. Adobe had paid $1 billion to their competitor, $150 million to the government, lost their CEO, and their stock was at an 8-year low. But the real threat was not the lawsuits or the Figma deal. It was something much bigger, and it was coming from inside Adobe's own strategy. In March 2023, Adobe launched Firefly, its family of generative AI models built directly into Creative Cloud. Type a prompt, get an image. Generative fill in Photoshop. Text to video. Within a year, users had generated over 13 billion images with Firefly. On the surface, this looked like Adobe's smartest move in years. They were not ignoring AI, they were embracing it, building it into every product, monetizing it aggressively. Adobe was going to ride the AI wave. But then, Adobe did something that shattered whatever trust remained. They updated their terms of service to give themselves a non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free license to use, reproduce, and display user content. The actual creative work their customers were making inside Adobe's tools. For designers under non-disclosure agreements, this was a disaster. For studios sharing confidential work, it was a security nightmare. Users suspected Adobe was harvesting their work to train the very AI that might replace them. Adobe backtracked after the backlash, but the trust was gone, and that is the deeper crisis investors see. Adobe's monopoly was built on one thing: complexity. Photoshop is powerful because it is deep. It takes years to master. And once you invest thousands of hours learning it, you never leave. That learning curve was Adobe's greatest moat. AI destroys that moat completely. Today, a person who has never opened Photoshop in their life can type a sentence and generate a professional quality image in seconds. A marketing manager who used to hire a designer and wait 3 days for a campaign visual can now create it themselves in 5 minutes using Canva's AI tools or Midjourney or a dozen other platforms that did not exist 2 years ago. Every time AI gets better, the number of people who need professional design software shrinks, and Adobe is building the very technology that accelerates that shrinking. Meanwhile, their competitors are moving faster. Canva now has over 200 million monthly users. Figma, armed with $1 billion of Adobe's own money, is building AI directly into collaborative design. New startups are launching AI-first creative tools every single month, each one cheaper and simpler than Adobe. And here is the number that terrifies Wall Street. Adobe stock has a price-to-earnings ratio of about 14. For a high-margin software company growing at 12% per year, that ratio should be 2 or 3 times higher. The market is pricing Adobe as if its growth is about to stop. Revenue up 12%, profits at record highs, and the stock keeps falling every single quarter. Investors are not paying for what Adobe earns today. They are pricing in a future where AI makes Adobe's core products less essential every year. The company that trapped its customers is now trapped itself. Trapped between a subscription model people hate, an AI revolution that undermines everything they sell, competitors funded by their own billion-dollar mistake, and a CEO vacancy with no succession plan. Adobe is making more money than ever, and it has never been more vulnerable. So what does Adobe's slow-motion collapse teach us? One principle that applies to every business, every subscription, and every investment. A monopoly built on trapping customers instead of delighting them is a monopoly waiting to die. Adobe had the most loyal customer base in software history. Designers loved Photoshop. Editors loved Premiere. Photographers loved Lightroom. These tools genuinely changed how creative work was done. People were willing to pay for them because they were the best. But instead of maintaining that loyalty through great products and fair pricing, Adobe chose extraction, hidden fees, cancellation traps, forced renewals. They treated their most loyal customers like hostages instead of fans. And for a while, it worked. Revenue quintupled. Stock hit all-time highs. Wall Street celebrated. But extraction has a shelf life. Every customer who was trapped was also a customer waiting to leave the moment a viable alternative appeared. Adobe was not building loyalty. They were building resentment. And resentment is a spring that gets tighter every year until something releases it. AI released it. Figma released it. Canva released it. And suddenly, millions of customers who had been waiting for an exit found one. You might think this only applies to giant software companies. It does not. Think about your gym membership that charges a cancellation fee. Think about the cable company that makes you call to cancel instead of clicking a button. Think about any subscription that makes leaving harder than joining. Every one of these businesses is playing Adobe's game. They are betting that the pain of leaving is greater than the pain of staying. But here is what Adobe learned. The moment a competitor makes leaving easy, every customer you trapped becomes a customer you lose, not gradually, all at once. If you invest in companies, look at how they treat their customers. A company that grows by delighting people builds something durable. A company that grows by trapping people builds something fragile. Adobe's revenue says strong. Adobe's stock says fragile. Always trust the stock. Adobe spent 18 years building a subscription machine that punished its own customers. Revenue is up, trust is gone. And trust, once lost, costs far more than $150 million to rebuild. That is the lesson Adobe is paying for right now. You just got it for free. If you found value in this, subscribe to Billion to Bust. We break down the biggest financial disasters in history and pull out the one lesson that could save you real money. See you in the next one.